I am a big fan of this man's work. I don't know if he's ever been on this show before in our 6 years. Loved him in Mr. Show with Bob and David way back in the day. That was before Arrested Development, and also in Goliath, where he played a far different character than the one that he did in other shows that included also the Ben Stiller Show, and his new movie, The Dark Divide, available now on VOD, digital, and Blu-ray and DVD platforms, wherever you can get that. The highly talented David Cross back here on the Rich Eisen. Here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, David?
I'm good. And, it's interesting as you were doing that intro.
Yes, sir.
Right before you were saying, I don't know if he's been on the show, I was actually sitting here thinking, have I been on this show before?
I don't think so,
and
David.
I don't know.
I usually do have a good recollection of that sort of thing, but I've wanted you on for quite some time because everything that I just read, you are hilarious, man, and you are excellent at what you do. So I'm glad that you're
thank you.
You are most welcome. You're from Atlanta? Is that where you're from originally?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So is that the part of the country that you associate yourself with, or what? I mean, did you spend much time there when you were in Atlanta?
All my family, most of my family is still down there.
Okay.
So I'm there quite a bit. But now that I have a daughter, we're down there. I mean, outside of COVID stuff, we're there about 4 or 5 times a year. Pretty much.
So the reason why I ask is just basically also, do you have any sports teams from there, David? Did you grow up any Atlanta sports fan in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. I was, I should say was, I am a Braves fan. Went to tons of Braves games because when they sucked, it was very cheap. I remember there was one of those quarter car wash chains called National Pride Car Wash, and they would have coupons that would allow you to get into the game for like a couple bucks. So my friends and I would go to those games. It wouldn't cost much. And then also the Atlanta Flames sucked for a long time as well. And so we'd get into those games fairly cheaply. And then unfortunately a Falcons fan too. So while I was at the World Series win that game.
Okay.
I've been to a lot of Braves games over the years, but I was actually at the last game in the old stadium.
The old Fulton County Stadium, the old Fulton County Stadium back in the day. So if I had to guess then, was like Dale Murphy your guy growing up? Is that?
I loved Dale Murphy, but I was also a Red Sox fan. I really liked the Red Sox, and then I moved to Boston from Atlanta and went to tons of games at Fenway, which is just a completely different and better experience.
Yes.
And I was a big Dwight Evans fan. But, I was, definitely Dale Murphy was my guy. But all a lot of those earlier teams that have named characters, like I've done movies and TV shows, and I usually have some old Braves characters in there. I did a movie called Hits, and I had 2 cops were Lemke and Blauser, were the names of the cops. And I got those sprinkled throughout a lot of my work over the decades.
I mean, and did you ever hear from Sid Bream and say, "What gives"? I mean, did you ever?
No. But I remember exactly where I was when the slide happened. I was at a bar in New York City, and I just remember hanging on to watching the game in a bar and banging my foot pretty bad on the stool, the little, the rail of the stool, as I was like jumping up and down and got caught in there.
Well, I also remember one of the biggest moments, I guess, in Atlanta Flames history was when Jim Craig, if I'm not mistaken, after winning the gold medal, he went between the pipes for the Atlanta Flames. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, and it was
time.
it was about as big a promotional push because I remember Coca-Cola was behind it because they're local, and that was a big deal. And then I think they were gone within 2 years, I want to say. They moved to Calgary.
Yes, they did.
Within a year or 2 years of his signing, I remember. But I did catch a slap shot that went up and hit the because we used to buy our tickets. There was nobody there, so you'd buy the cheapest tickets, and then you'd just move down, and I'd be in like the third row behind the goal, and there was Eric Vale. I remember it was Eric Vale who hit the slap shot and went off the glass and just went spinning, and I just instinctively, jumped up and put my hand up, and it hurt like a mother. I don't know if you're allowed to swear, but
no, that's okay. It is a family show, technically. But
a mother clucker. It hurt like a mother clucker.
Yes.
And, and I was probably like, I don't know, what would that have been, like 12 or something like that?
Amazing.
13, and it just damaged my little hand, but it was pretty cool.
David Cross here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's before we get into I go down memory lane a little bit with some of my celebrity guests and ask them in celebrity true or false stuff that I've seen in articles and quotes if they're true or not. Before we get to that, let's talk about The Dark Divide. You play the Dr. Robert Pyle in this film.
Yeah, real guy.
Which is a real guy. Walk me through this and why you did this and how you got involved in this fair, sir. What do you got for me?
So it's a true-ish story. It really takes from a bunch of his books, but it's a guy who kind of mild-mannered, lepidopterous, kind of bookish kind of guy, very introverted, who through these extenuating circumstances involving his deceased wife ends up going on this journey through the Dark Divide, which is the nickname of the Gifford Pinchot National Forest out in the Pacific Northwest. It's like the largest uncharted wild bit of land in the lower 48 states left. And this is back in 1995. And he's just in way over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's very naive about what he's about to undertake. And, it's one of those kind of stories and movies where, he goes in, he starts this journey, he starts one way, and through all this arduous journey he goes on, near-death experiences and all kinds of things that happen, and the people he meets ends up a completely different person at the end, and he went in there thinking he was going to be gone for a little under a month, and he was lost all track of time, and he was actually almost 6 weeks in there, and just, it was, and I rarely get offered that kind of opportunity, and I really like the story, and I like the idea of being in my underwear a lot, on screen, and you're welcome. You're welcome for that.
Yes.
And then once I met with the writer and director which is the same person, Tom Putnam, wrote and directed it. And just when I meshed with him, because if you're going to do something, because it was very low budget, really brutal, tough. I mean, we shot in a lot of the real locations, and there's no electricity, there's no roads. At a certain point, you just park to drive as far as you can, then you get out and you lug all this gear with a skeleton crew into the interior of these crazy woods, and there's no internet, no electricity, no cell phone service, nothing like that, and it was a really difficult shoot, so I wanted to make sure I jibed with him, and I did, and then I was like, yeah, let's do it.
And it's, again, available now on VOD, digital, and Blu-ray/DVD platforms. Plus, let's be honest, Odenkirk can't have all the serious roles where he's going through great physical harm and actually doing this, right? You gotta stay total. Yeah. You gotta keep up with him right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're dueling. I'm racing up the charts.
Yes, you are. Catching butterflies. So in The Dark Divide, it's a great movie. Everyone should go check it out. If you don't mind endeavoring a little celebrity true or false here on the Rich Eisen Show, I would greatly appreciate it, David Cross. Okay? Would you?
Absolutely.
Are you prepared? Here we go. We even have a drop for it. Go for it, please.
Celebrity true or false?
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, boy. Very good. It's very dramatic, setting up Celebrity True or False with David Cross. Again, these are items that we have captured from articles that have been written about you or are on the internet. You got to tell us if it's true or false. First item, you have...
Am I guessing or am I...
No,
am I
you're confirming. You're
that?
confirming or saying this is true or false. Okay, this is not.
Got it. Okay.
You're confirming for us. According to one article, you have, quote, no qualms whatsoever, unquote, about taking your clothes off for any reason. Is that true or false, David Cross?
True-ish.
Okay.
The reason should be good, but it really depends on how much I've been drinking.
Okay. So it really depends on the actual alcohol intake. But professionally, this is something that you're open to, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. I mean, on Mr. Show, there's if you got rid of that video digital scrambler thing, I'm sure you'd be seeing us get quite an eye load. That's from Bob and I.
From the two of you back in the day, that was so much fun. That was there ever something that you did that on Mr. Show with Bob and David that you were told you could not do, and that had to be hit on the cutting room floor?
Literally in 4 years, there was one thing,
and that is,
and there's I can't remember the thing, but it's like a flashback. It's in the opening. There's a flashback where I'm playing my dad, and Mary Lynn Rice Cub is the mom, and there's a baby, which is supposed to be me, which is a plastic doll, clearly a plastic doll.
Yes.
And I say something about the baby, and the mom, Mary Lynn, slams the baby down the ground, goes, F this baby. And that was the one thing they said, yeah, we don't want you to do that. I was like, oh, okay.
So then we had to find a different way to... Okay. So other than that, it's all good, ready to go on Mr. Show.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Next one for you. You were originally approached to play Buster Bluth in Arrested Development, but you chose Tobias instead. Is that true?
Yeah, they had sent me... actually, they wanted me to look at Job and Buster, and Job I had no reading on at all. I didn't understand it. And Buster seemed really fun, but Tobias was in there, and I just immediately gravitated to that character, and I also knew immediately how I wanted to play him. So I lobbied for that, and they were like, fine.
Is he based on anybody that you have met before? Or is Tobias... Where you said, you... No,
he's the way I pitched him was like a mashup, an amalgamation of a like East Coast Dick Van, what's the guy's name? Dick Cavett, like an East Coast turtleneck wearing Dick Cavett type of intellectual or pseudo intellectual in his case, meets a kind of Marin County touchy feely. Cable sweater, kind of like, a therapist who makes up his own brand of therapy and just calls himself a therapist. Like a mix of those two types of people.
What's your favorite scene from Arrested Development, David Cross? Which is your favorite?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, how to do it,
Richard,
David.
Come on. I mean, I could say something now and it'll change in 10 minutes if I remember another one. But
okay,
I mean, I remember rarely laughing as hard as I ever have. There's a thing it's like a flashback to a party or something. And Buster, Tony Hale's playing the piano. We're in the Lucille's living room in the penthouse. And then I think Job is laying on the dining room table, and I can't remember what Michael's doing, and I'm dancing I'm laughing thinking about it now, in my, never nude shorts. And just, that was also like the end of a long day. It was like hour 13, and we were all loopy and just doing that. And I know for a fact that when you see Will Arnett laughing, Will and Jason laughing in the background, that's them laughing for real. They couldn't stop laughing.
I was about to say, who's the one that was the easiest to break up on the set? Like, would just crack? That's
a good question. Wow, maybe me. I don't know.
Is that right?
Jason's a pro. I mean, he's pretty great. I'd say Will or me, be one of the two of us.
So it's funny you said that.
Tony was really good at staying solid.
He's staying that way, yeah, because it's funny. So Will had a better read of the Job character than you did, and so everyone wound up in the right spots in that.
Oh yeah,
cast.
I mean once I saw Will in it, I was like, of course. That didn't even occur to me, and I just can't imagine. It's one of those rare casts where I just can't imagine anybody else playing those roles. You know,
Right.
like once because I'd never met Will before, or even knew of him, but when I was watching it all happen when we were shooting the pilot, I was like, oh God, of course, this guy's great. It's perfect.
It certainly is. David Cross, The Dark Divide, where everybody can check it out on VOD, digital, and Blu-ray/DVD platforms right now. Thanks for the call, David. Appreciate it. I meant what I said. I'm a big fan, and I hope we get to chat a little bit more, go down more of your Atlanta sports memory lane next time, too. Thank you.
Well, thanks, man. And I want to thank you for you're helping me with all my fantasy baseball decisions over the last decades.
I had no idea the pressure was on. So, have you won a championship based on my knowledge?
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Fantastic. I didn't see a playoff. I didn't see my playoff share, David. I didn't get that, but I'll just.
Yeah, no, it should be. Check your PayPal, and it should be in there.
Very good. Thank you, David. I will do that in the commercial break. Thanks for the call, David. I appreciate it. You take care.
All right, absolutely. Thank you.
That's David Cross, at David Cross on Twitter, at David Cross Official on Instagram.